By thanking the non-governmental organizations who put on such a startling performance last evening, running the whole gamut of emotions from A to B. Until they spoke, given the adult approaches with regard to Sri Lanka of the many countries that addressed this assembly, and the helpful meetings we had with so many responsible authorities, I thought that my staying on in a freezing Geneva was a waste of time and energy and money. This last was particularly upsetting, for we are a poor country, and our taxpayers cannot really afford the exorbitant rates for hotels that our well-funded NGO colleagues find negligible. At some stage, Mr. Chairman, if this privileging of the claims of the unaccountable finger-pointers continue, I hope that in the interest of the economic and social rights of the poor, you will take steps to have sittings of this Council in more affordable settings. Meanwhile, let me respond to some of the more outrageous claims of our irresponsible friends. I use the word irresponsible, and all I can say is that Human Rights Watch, which refused a meeting with me in Geneva, should refrain from pronouncements about Sri Lanka, made with no reference to any Sri Lankans. Instead, they cite several great white authorities which turn out to be the same authority. HRW refers to a BBC report which we have shown to be fraudulent. That report dramatized an interview with an ICRC official who the ICRC told me had been misquoted. HRW then quotes the United Nations and one of its spokesmen, but the head of UNDP says, and I quote from an SMS, that he was oddly misquoted. He told a visiting journalist to look at the ICR's report, and then the journalist attributed it to the UN. Then HRW issued a statement quoting from the press report. Since then, I have been told by the UN that the reference was not to the ICR's report, for there was none, but to the quote as referred to in the BBC story. Mr. President, Sri Lanka strongly condemns these attempts by interested parties to damage the good relations between Sri Lanka and its partners by such deliberate or culpably careless misquoting. The ICRC and the UN do good work under difficult circumstances, and agencies such as Human Rights Watch, with nothing better to do, must not waste their time and ours in pursuing clarifications. And this coterie of self-sustaining hysterics is the press that our more circumspect friends in Amnesty International want us to take to the conflict zone. Mr. President, we are concerned about our people. We do not need to be told by people who think that cluster bombs come out of the barrel of a gun how to look after our own. Read the ICRC reports, discuss them with us, but do not think that you know more than people who have to account financially and at elections for their actions. We are aware that the Western press is sensationalistic and confrontational. We do not blame them for that, since it is a result of their cultural conditioning.